Okay guys, it is time for a new update here on the Bitcoin price because Bitcoin has been correcting within the last 24 hours and we are back inside of our uptrend channel, which we expected, guys. We were comparing the yesterday's fake out with the fake out that we saw earlier this year before Bitcoin started its big dump all the way down to the prices we are at right now. And the question is, does Bitcoin have a chance this time to, although it had a fake out now already, to still bring the price out of this bear flag and to pump to the upside? I will answer this question in today's video. Besides this, I have some very interesting on-chain data prepared for you guys that you haven't seen yet. I have to tell you guys, it is some alarming data, but let's get to that in a second. And also we need to keep in mind that just because this is now looking very similar with the fake out, we need to keep in mind that the price yesterday got also under pressure a little bit since Tesla announced that approximately 75% of the Bitcoin purchases were converted into fiat in the Q2 of this year. So they already got sold. We don't need to be scared of any selling pressure coming in. Around $1 billion in Bitcoin got liquidated by Tesla and added to their cash balance, but these Bitcoin got already sold. So I think this is more of a natural market move, since we really saw here a nice fake out above this rising broadening wedge, and then pretty much with just all the steam of bulls lost, we also saw here on the RSI a peak in the zone where the bulls normally lose steam, right, in this sideways movement that we are in right now. And so far since then we are correcting to the downside. What type of impact does this now have for our daily and our weekly candles, guys? First of all, on the weekly we got a beautiful rejection. This means we got a beautiful rejection here on the daily time frame from this downward sloping resistance, for example. But more importantly, and guys, make sure to now subscribe, activate the bell. You guys know I will tell you, I will open a new trade very soon, and I will let you know right now in today's video when that's going to happen. Guys, make sure to subscribe, activate the bell, smash up a like. Let's reach 1,000 likes like we do normally on every single video of mine. And besides that, like I said, we are going to talk about the DXY and also about some on-chain data. So let's jump back into the charts. So what we can see here on the weekly time frame is that pretty much on the weekly moving averages, I told you guys yesterday that it is still very dangerous for Bitcoin right now, because the weekly candle still has 5 or now 3 days left to close above the 200 weekly moving average. And right now we just fell back below the 200 weekly moving average. So Bitcoin needs to pump immediately within the next 3 days. Otherwise we are having here a definitely bearish weekly candle close coming in for Bitcoin, which would predict definitely some more downside for the upcoming weeks still, right? Or at least a bigger wick for the upcoming weeks. So what Bitcoin needs to do now is to recover very fast. First of all, we have here on the daily time frame still support below us, right? On the daily time frame, we more or less here formed somewhat of a ascending triangle, right? So right now, Bitcoin on the daily time frame is still inside of a bullish breakout. So as long as on the daily time frame the $22,000 pretty much holds, and let's take a look on the smaller time frames what that level is, then we have good chances of Bitcoin continuing its rise to the upside. But as we can see, the price level, the $22,000 level, pretty much is the exact same level that this rising broadening wedge's support line is coming up. So the only thing that I'm now keeping an eye on is if we are breaking here outside of our rising broadening wedge. And if so, if we break, I'm not sure what these small lines are, if we break here to the downside, I for sure want to see a retest. I want to see the old high point getting broken to the downside, right, once again. And that would be the moment where I will open up a new short scalp position, because I am still remaining in my $400,000 long swing trade with a low leverage that will stay open even if we go down to the $14,000 level. And I'm prepared for upside. I have my hodling portfolio and so on. But if we correct, I want to take advantage of that and make sure that I make as most profits as possible. So now let's take a look at the DXY. I think the DXY is going to be also a deciding factor in here what happens next. Because on the daily, the DXY can now decide to bounce another time. And every time the DXY bounced, let's take a look here, 24th of June 2020. The good thing is that Bitcoin tends to dump afterwards if the DXY starts to pump. Yeah. And that's at least what we have seen here on the big time frames, right? We were keeping early this year. I warned you guys about this breakout that the DXY may start pumping. It started pumping heavily also since the euro started getting under pressure and stuff, but that's not so important for us. I just think that if the daily candle here manages to pump, so if we see it tomorrow, a continuation of the DXY going to the upside, the likelihood of us breaking here to the downside are relatively high. And one thing supporting this is the activity of whales. Because what we can see here is, in these two on-chain datas, is that pretty much while the price is going down, right, the activity of whales, right, the market price is while it went down quite heavily, but the activity of whales is pretty much at a far all-time low. The whales are not acting at all. The whales are not buying, they're not selling. The whales are pretty much inactive here on this data. And what does this mean for us? I mean, in the bottoms usually, and during the top zones, I would say the whales have been inactive, right? The whales have been inactive for now a very, very long time. Normally, if we see bottoms or strong rallies, right, we see activity in the whales since they are buying. So this right now is looking a little bit like when we were here in the greens, or when we were in the greens here, or in the greens here, or in the greens here, here, and here, where all of this pretty much was somewhat of the top again, since the whales were inactive, right? So this is, in my opinion, not all too positive that the whales are not starting to get very, very active, because that should be what is happening around the bottom. But also it could be just a sign that this bear market is different than the others, and the whales are just holding through it. But I rather think that's unlikely. So this is more of a indication for, yeah, some more downside to come for Bitcoin. But let's just keep an eye on the charts, guys. We are prepared for the upside. If we break down out of this rising broadening wedge, we will open a short. And as long as you are subscribed, you have the bell active, you leave a comment down below, and you smash up a like here on today's video. Let's reach 1,000 likes. I would appreciate it. Then, I mean, you are in the loop anyways, and you won't miss out on any trade updates or changes to whatever my strategy is at the moment. But guys, we're going to see us in the next video. Till then, bye.